Hey, and welcome once again to Ancient Ways for Modern Days. My name is Mike. Welcome as we continue with Jesus' dialogue in John chapter 8 between him and the Jews and the Jewish leaders. Now, yesterday what we saw is Jesus' promise to those who have believed in him, that if they abide in him, if they remain in him, that they will know the truth about who the Messiah is, and that truth will set them free. What a great picture. What a great promise we have. Well, today we're going to continue and we're going to see that there is an adverse reaction to this phrase because the listeners, they take Jesus and what he says about being set free, they take it only in physical, earthly terms. They think that Jesus is saying you are enslaved. And so they have some pushback for Jesus. So let's look at the text and let's see where it leads us today. Starting in verse 33, it says, "And they answered him, 'We are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free?'" Now, this is a bit ironic because the offspring of Abraham have been enslaved. They were slaves to Egypt. And the Lord, he redeemed them, he delivered them, he set them free out of that, but they do have a history of this. What's more is they may not be enslaved right now, but they certainly aren't free. They are under the oppression of the Romans and the conquering Roman government. And so there's this is a strange response to them. Well, verse 34, Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin and does not remain in the..." Let's just stop right there. Jesus, he's actually not talking about being physically free. He's talking about being spiritually free. He's saying you don't realize that you are slaves to sin. Verse 35, "The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son remains forever." He's talking about something completely different here. He's saying, listen, if you are a slave to sin, you are enslaved. You are not a son of God. You are someone who is enslaved. And the text continues and he says, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." Verse 37, "I know that you are offspring of Abraham. I know that genetically, I know that ethnically, you are offspring of Abraham. Yet, you seek to kill me because my word finds no place in you, because you don't believe my words about my identity. I speak of what I have seen with my Father, and you do what you have heard from your father." Now, this is kind of leaving us on a cliffhanger. We'll pick it up tomorrow. But here's what Jesus says. He says, listen, I'm giving you a freedom. I'm giving you a freedom as the Son who can set you free. And it's a freedom from sin. It's a freedom from the bondage that you have. Listen, I am giving you the opportunity to come into my household and be a son of God. It says, I know that you are offspring biologically of Abraham, but we have different fathers. He says, my Father, I'm speaking of what I have seen from him. My Father is the one who is in heaven. Jesus has already established this. And he says, I am speaking, I am teaching, and I am doing what the Heavenly Father wants me to do. But you, in your rejection of me, and you, in your murderous intent toward me, you are acting like your father. Well, who is their father? They'd be quick to raise their hand and say, we are sons of Abraham. We are children of Abraham. Jesus says, no. Biologically, that's true, but spiritually, you have a completely different father. And their father is not God the Father. What we're going to see in tomorrow's text is their father is the enemy of God the Father. See, what Jesus does here is he is reminding us of this freedom. This is a freedom found in trusting in who he is. It's a freedom found in trusting that his identity is as the Son of God the Father. There's no freedom separated from that. There's no freedom unless we come to terms with his revelation of who he is as the Son of God. And notice here, Jesus says, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I want us to see here that of our dependence upon Christ himself working in us, setting us free. This is a reminder of the ultimate dependence we have on him. Our freedom is not found by our own searching of our soul and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to be a better person. Our freedom is not found in us trying harder to be moral. Listen, brother or sister, the freedom that we have is a freedom that rests in the identity of Christ. It's a freedom that rests in the work of Christ. I think today is a simple reminder that we are to be completely reliant, utterly dependent upon Christ working in our lives. Today might be a good day to just stop when this video comes to a conclusion, to stop and admit your dependence upon Christ, to stop and say, Lord, I am weak. I am blind in and of myself. I will do the wrong thing. I will think the wrong thing. I will go the wrong way. I need you. And just in that prayer of dependence, ask for him to work in you. Ask for Christ to reveal himself to you through the Spirit. Ask the Father to show you who Christ is. Come to him in dependence, trusting in him, believing in him, and then asking him to let you experience this freedom, this true freedom. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And this is the ancient way for our modern day.